Good morning. I forgot to make a video until now, but I've only been out and about for, like half an hour, so not too bad. Oh, the main thing I'm excited to show you is time lapses from my bedroom view this morning. Check it out. Heck of a sunrise, isn't it? So that was amazing to watch. I'll be real though, I mostly slept. So I was gonna go to a kind of touristy diner, but they don't serve breakfast all day. I did find the quaintest little local place, and it does serve breakfast all day, and this is a salmon benedict. It's just me and a bunch of people who've lived here for like 60 years. What a scene, eh? Isn't that something else? Okay, so I've got to get to the New Yorker YouTube space here in the next hour or so. I'm gonna do some of my editing there. I'm gonna hang out, meet some people, make some friends. That is the point of being in New York City, right? Is to take advantage of the physical advantages, being around people who do creative things. Big cities are perfect for that sort of thing. So I am all sorts of excited about that. Then, let's see, what else? Oh, so I just got to talk to Alan on the phone for an hour and a half, and it was just like incredible. It was so wonderful. And I made time lapses as we were going of like, so the iPhone can make time lapses while you're on the phone. So I just made time lapses of the entire experience. Sort of different scenes of the park. I'm getting B-roll for a separate project that I'm working on that I will talk about in another video. But it was just wonderful to have this like hour-long phone call and also be making time lapses of Central Park while I was talking. I just loved that. That experience was so good. Let's see what else. Oh, I wanted to tell you a short story about how I know New York. So many people feel kind of lost in New York for the first couple weeks they're here. For understandable reasons, the metro system is like impossible to decipher, and the just layout of the city is kind of confusing. And of course, when you're surrounded by tall buildings and you're not from a place with tall buildings, everything looks the same. Like, oh, I'm surrounded by tall buildings again, I don't know where I am. There's this interesting, as far as I can tell, unique to me circumstance. And that is that I was super obsessed with Spider-Man 2 on GameCube when I was little. Now, that would have nothing to do with New York City, except that the defining feature of Spider-Man 2 is that it had an entire physically accurate map of New York City built into the game. So, as a child, I spent, probably unconscionable numbers of hours, hundreds of hours, doing this free-form game where, there was no goal. I had finished the plot, had won the game, but I just got to swing around New York City like Spider-Man and just sort of explore the way the developers set up the game. And I spent so much time doing that because it was so much fun. That was before I had ever discovered like Elder Scrolls games, and it was really my first experience of like an open-ended virtual environment. And so as a result, I have this like really strange, innate feel for the way the city is laid out, and I like recognize buildings. I have favorite buildings, like there's one here called the Sony building that I learned has been vacant actually since March, but was my favorite building in the Spider-Man game because it has this like roof. It's a circle that you can just hang out in, and it was especially hard to get into, but I made it a like personal challenge to try to just hang out there sometimes in the game. Anyway, yeah, so nerdy little tangent. Isn't that fun though? Isn't that a like interesting way to know a place like this? Oh look, people setting up a Steadicam. That's cool. So what I think is especially fun is that it's likely that as virtual experiences get more and more real, people get better at building virtual representations of real places, this effect that I'm having, which I'll call the Spider-Man effect. I'm interestingly well lit because the building behind me is reflecting the sun really brightly. Sorry, I had to stop for a second to make slow motion videos of that bike shadow situation that's going on because of the building reflected light. So anyway, the Spider-Man effect, where you know a place because you were in a digital environment that was an exact duplicate of the place. I feel like that's going to become a lot more common. Because once you've played a VR video game in the skyline of New York City, you've gotten to explore the city virtually. Being in the like real physical version of the place will be an interesting analog. It's not quite as comfortable. You're not quite as free because you're constrained by the physical world. I'm excited for virtual environments to start being preferable to physical environments. It might happen. It might happen sooner than we think. So that was an incredible tangent, but those are things I just can't help while I walk around the streets of New York City and think that I know them, but I don't because I've never been there before. But yet in some sense I have. But only digitally. Are there places that you know virtually? Have you hung out around here on Google Maps or something like that? Do you recognize some places in the world because you've been in them in a computerized environment? Leave comments. I'm curious. Thanks for listening to my rant. See you in the next video.